We have Todd Preston with D. Davidson standing by on Skype this morning to tell us all about this week's stock market news. But first up, we're going to start with yesterday. I hear the Dow snapped a 4-day winning streak. Tell us all about it, Todd.
It did, yeah. We saw this. We actually recovered from the session lows. The Dow was down 10, Nasdaq was up, or excuse me, down 76. S&P was down 11. S&P actually went positive for the year for a while. Yesterday, the selling pressure took it back negative for the year, but the Nasdaq is still up 16% for the year. So in light of everything we've been through, the Dow's lagging about 6%. So pretty reasonable response, especially in the middle of the dog days of summer.
And tell us about the mixed economic numbers we're seeing right now.
Yeah, so the banking sector came out with pretty decent news, and so that was a positive. Tech sector saw some pressure. They've really kind of carried the weight through this whole pandemic issue. So having a little pressure there isn't that big of a deal. First-time jobless claims were a little weaker than they anticipated, but home builder confidence was back to pre-pandemic levels, and we had the Philly Fed index also higher. So a little bit of mixed, but on the whole, pretty reasonable. Again, unprecedented times, and so pretty reasonable response from consumers.
And it sounds like China continues to make the news headlines. Tell us about that.
They do, both for political and economic news. So we saw their biggest sell-off since the pandemic in their stock market yesterday, based on weaker than anticipated consumer response. They kind of led us into this, and they were the first ones to kind of come back out of it. So the rest of the world's kind of trying to take a cue from them in terms of what will the response be as they come out of it. So plus we saw, the Trump administration is contemplating travel bans on them in response to the Beijing human rights issues. But really, the whole COVID-19, it's still the big deal, not only in China but in the U.S. So how we respond, how we come out of it. Of course, we went back to masks in Montana. That's being done in other states as well. So the concern is, will those activities slow economic recovery to the point that we see a sell-off in the market? We've been saying for a while that the market looks forward about 6 months. So right now the market's anticipating that we'll make it through this and be just fine. We've got the good news of the potential vaccine. So all those things come together and we'll be okay.
All right, Todd, well, thank you so much for your time today. You have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
All right, perfect.
All right, thanks. We'll be right back after the break.